An exciting weekends for the Lions, NFC North champions. So that's a playoff berth and a home playoff game. And now, as the rest of the games kind of come in, everyone's played. You can look at the updated NFC playoff picture. And good news, after the Lions win, the rest of the weekend really falls exactly how we could have hoped for. I mean, the 49ers lose, the Cowboys lose, we play the Cowboys. So it puts everybody at 11-4 here up at the top because of tiebreakers and things. Right now, we're third, fine. That's the lowest we're going to possibly be, is third. Maybe we jump up to second. Maybe we get that top seed, but it gives us a chance. Just a couple weeks ago, the Lions are sitting there 2 games behind San Francisco for that top seed. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like we really wanted that. Now we're just trying to make the playoffs. Not only did the Lions win and get this monkey off their back and not even have to deal with the pressure and the stress of winning the NFC North, that's all done on the road at Minnesota. Awesome. But now they can really just take a deep breath and look forward to this top 1 or 2 seeds. Again, can't be any lower than a 3 seed going into the playoffs. Perfect. And then you can look at, okay, how do we match up in the second and the first seed? Because we may get to the last game of the season, we could have opportunities to rest people because we can't fall lower than a 3. Maybe we can't even get to the 2. We almost built in a little bye there, if you will. So perfect. More good news on that front. Here's the most exciting news when it comes to the playoffs. James Houston, there for a minute, was like, he's coming back. He's not. Oh, he's going to be out for a long time. No, he's not. Just like this back and forth. Well, Dan Campbell comes and says James Houston has a good chance of returning. So first thing he does is he talks about CJ Gardner-Johnson, who's changed his name to Ducey or something. I got to get up on that. But CJ Gardner-Johnson said, Dan Campbell said he's close. He's close. We've got to decide what to do. How close is close? And really what they have to decide is, what do you do? Do you take Melifonwu out? Do you put, what's that really look like? You can't take Brian Branch out. So it's a good problem to have. And so this is what Dan Campbell said about Melifonwu. He said he's a factor. He's getting better and better. He's instinctive. He's physical. You can see his athletic ability. He's just getting better and better. It's a good problem to have when Ducey comes back. There it is. So the Lions now have all of a sudden depth in the secondary. CJ Gardner-Johnson's coming back, or maybe he doesn't, right? Maybe you don't bring him right back in. Have him on the bench for a minute just to keep him healthy, rest another week. We don't need him like we did just a couple weeks ago. It's crazy how things twist and turn. Okay, but we'll get back to that in just a second. But the real exciting news is there's a good chance we start Houston's clock, meaning he starts practicing evaluation period. You get 21 days to figure out what you want to do. Usually when you start that clock, you're ready to play. And so given the short week, the Lions play on Saturday. Tuesday's practice is expected to be a walkthrough. After that, we may see Houston on the field. So I don't think he plays this week, but another one, if he can come back, practice, get in good shape, get there, doesn't play this week, doesn't even play the finale, but you have him for the playoff run where you now have another defensive end. And, even in the finale, if you can get him in, get him ready and exciting for the playoffs. And that's the other thing. The good news and the exciting news about this is you can talk playoffs now. Like, there was like this weird, well, we're not technically in. It's like, okay, the Lions are in the playoffs. What's that look like? You can start planning for the playoffs, whether it's injuries, buys, however whatever that looks like, resting guys. Because here's one thing we know. The one thing that we know based on what we've seen the last 2 weeks and actually the whole season, if the Lions offensive line is healthy, they can beat anyone. When the offensive line is beat up, it's tough. It's tougher. We saw 2 weeks in a row, Lions offensive line healthy, put up 42 points and 30 points. Jared Goff looks comfortable. He's got time. I mean, he has got time. You saw the Minnesota Vikings. They're a good team. They ranked in the top 5 in total defense. They come after the quarterback. They know Jared Goff's not mobile. We have to come after him. Brian Flores is a great defensive coordinator. You saw the exotic looks on the defensive line. It looks like they had 6 guys on the defensive line at all times because it's like, Goff's not going to run away from us. Let's go get him. And they couldn't get there. And the only sack that I remember was Goff kind of screwed up and tried to turn around one way and there's a guy waiting for him. Had he just stepped up, trusted it, he would have been fine. But the offensive line allows us to run the ball, throw the ball. I mean, Jared Goff, when he has time, is a good quarterback. And that's saying a lot because there's quarterbacks that you give them all the time in the world, they're still not good. Jared Goff, with time, is a great quarterback. So we know that if the offensive line is healthy, anything can happen. Lions can do some things. So the reason I say that is because it feels like these last couple games now we can really plan around the playoffs. Do we rest Ragnow? Maybe a game, maybe both games. I hate to do that, but also we can't fall any lower than the 3. So why not rest Ragnow? Do you rest Taylor Decker? That's a big one. If Decker goes out, then Sewell has to go over there and vice versa. And it's just like, I don't like that. So this offensive line, I know we probably won't do this, but it feels like you should just rest the offensive line. Just take 2 weeks off, guys, the entire 5, and just get ready for the playoffs. Like that, I would not hate that just because I see the difference. It's incredible. I mean, they are just a stone wall when all 5 of them are healthy. And that's the problem with offensive lines is when one guy goes out, then you don't just replace him, you shift around. And so now 2 guys are out of position. And, the whole thing, it just doesn't take long for it to get really out of sync. But when it's in sync and you've got the defensive line that we do, it's really, really good. So Campbell also provided a generic update on Alim McNeill, who missed the last 3 games on injured reserve, noting he continues to get better. So fine. Alim McNeill, I'm just, again, he's got a couple more weeks. Keep going. He's another one. We made the playoffs. So you can start to prepare. Okay, then he's not going to play these next 2 weeks, and we'll see where he's at 3 weeks from now for that first home playoff game. And then we'll take it from there. Same thing with all these injured guys. Like, where are we at? And the Lions oddly are getting healthy. Even healthy guys like Brian Branch, he dinged up for a little bit. Hutchinson seems healthy. Remember, he had that just against the Panthers. He intercepted the ball and just gets a blow to the leg. I mean, looks like a career-ending injury. He was fine, ends up continuing to play, but he was messed up for like a month. It felt like he just didn't have the same push, the juice. Something was off with him, and I don't blame him. I mean, that was crazy. So Hutchinson's healthy. Brian Branch was banged up there for a little bit. Anzalone's back. And you know what you saw this week a little bit too was Malcolm Rodriguez. Man, that felt good. It felt like, okay, Barnes, you look sweet, you're fast, you're athletic, but you're just not getting it done. I'd rather put the less athletic, less physically gifted Malcolm Rodriguez out there. And at least he's going to be in the right spot and physical. He's going to be somewhat physical. I mean, right? So you see him playing more. You see the secondary, Melon Fonwu, who now was this guy that couldn't stay healthy and we didn't know what we had in him, just turns our secondary into something outstanding. I mean, his stat line from last game was like 5 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 forced fumbles, an interception. So just a crazy stat line that you're like, what in the world? Let me see if I can find it. And the Lions, I think, are in an interesting spot because they know that they're going to be in the playoffs. They want the 1 or 2 seed, but do you want to at a cost of losing the players that you they should have rested them? Like that's what I wonder, and I don't know if that's the case or what. So, yeah, Derek Barnes I think he was a healthy scratch, and that is interesting. And it's just like good. Him and my guy, what's his name? I can't even think of his name because I bash him so much, and I'm so sorry. All right, here are the inactives. Okay, Derek Barnes had an injury, so all right, wasn't a healthy scratch. He had an injury, but fine. He's I still like Malcolm in there. I just like at least he's in the right spot, Okay, hold on, I'm finding this. It's a really good article that I liked from Pride of Detroit about kind of the stat lines that you saw from last game and the players that really stood up and things that need to be worked on. I think it was really good. So let's take a look at it here. Okay. Again, Pride of Detroit, shout out to them. 7 risers, 2 fallers. Look at Melifonous. 5 tackles, 2 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, an interception, 2 passes defended, and 2 QB hits from your safety. Oh my gosh. Just look at this guy. He's athletic, man. Shoot. He's athletic. All right. Brian Branch, stock neutral. Yep. Love it. Branch is fine. Kirby Joseph. Wish he wouldn't showboat after he intercepts the ball, but good interception, Kirby. Love it, man. Love it. And then the other one is Jack Fox. Huge couple punts. Remember, they're late in the game, crushes the ball perfectly, and it was like a legal formation on us. So then he does it again and crushes it again. So love that. And we've all been dying to see Trevor Nowaski out on the field, and he screwed up. Dang it, Trevor. Dang it. Benito Jones, right? So we've been talking about our defensive tackles, got to play well. And I thought the Vikings got away from running the ball, which was interesting. But still, the Lions' defensive tackles really showed up. Benito Jones showed up. Appreciate that. Vildor, I agree. The dude was in there, made some physical tackles, and you just didn't hear his name called a lot because he wasn't getting burned. Man, the guy's not getting burned. We did multiple videos on this over the last week, how that changed the Lions defense. You took Jerry Jacobs out. He ultimately ends up getting injured, but still he was never going to play anymore because the corners have really improved since last time. Since taking over for Jerry Jacobs, we have more refined corners and get him out of there. So all good things. We get exciting playoff news that we're in, but then, yeah, we're in. So now we can plan around it, and we got other guys getting healthier and things are looking up. So let me know your thoughts in the comments on this one, and we'll see all of you on the next one.